overview on what to expect in today's video. We're going to be focusing on the hip joint and the muscles that tap into the hip area here. So a lot of the glute muscles right up into what's called the iliac crest go and merge into this part of the hip. So some common things to have is a bursitis, the iliotibial band, and just even like a tendonitis of the muscles as well, especially if you have a lot of repetitive strain, if you walk and your hip drops, stuff like that. So that is the main area that we are going to be focusing on right here.
So of course we're going to start with the tennis ball. And you're going to feel the bump on the side of your hip. That's a landmark we're going to use. And then also the pointy part of your hip in front. Now the ball is going to go right where you see my hand, right in the middle between both points, right there. Okay? So I held the ball here and laid right on it. It might be easier for you to position it right underneath your hip afterwards, but it's going to end again right in the middle between those 2 points. Now this can be quite painful, so I'm going to get you just to breathe in and out through your mouth or your nose, whatever you're more comfortable with at this point. But it's important that you try to relax the muscles in this area as best as you can. It's going to be very natural for you to tense right up, but try with every exhale, more and more tension leaves that area. So just a few more moments here. Really try to sit and let your full pressure really sink into the tennis ball. Now put one of your hands on your hips, the top hand, and you're going to try to rotate a little bit up towards the ceiling. So your chest rotates up towards the ceiling. So the reason we're doing this is that will help to get the tennis ball in a slightly different area of the muscle. Again, it doesn't change here in terms of you trying to relax. And now we're going to bend the top leg up like this and straighten the bottom leg. And we're going to roll onto our back. Now this is the next area. So it's almost going to be right beside your tailbone. So not on top, right beside. And the side that the ball is on, you're going to turn your knees towards that side. So this is going to intensify it. So this is too much for you. You can put your knees right back up towards the ceiling. Or if you can do just like I am, really let your knees fall towards the same side the tennis ball is on. This is a great piriformis release. It will also help relieve glute max tension. Now let the knee fall out even more towards the floor. The top one can stay where it is. If you need to, use your fists like I'm doing here as a barrier right underneath your knee if it's too intense. For me, actually, right underneath the knee, it's more mid-thigh for me. You can go right underneath your knee if you're a little bit more flexible or if you can handle a little bit more intensity. But for now, go right kind of at mid-thigh. And when you're ready, if you're ready, remove your hand and just let it relax out to the side and let your knees sink further and further towards the floor. Now slowly begin to recover, and we're going to shift the tennis ball a little bit in a moment here, but do a couple more of these in and outward motions of the knee. We're starting to release it with active ranges of motion here. Now this is where we're starting to shift. See how I shifted my body up a little bit? You see how the tennis ball is now going down even more. This is going to get the bottom part of the piriformis muscle and the bottom aspect of where the glute max muscle attaches into on the tailbone. This will get other muscles like the gemellus muscles, the obturator muscles, which are primarily external, so outward rotation muscles of the hip. This will help to release that as well. So again, I'm using my fist to act as a barrier. And when you're ready, remove your fist from underneath your leg and let your knee sink even further into the floor. Keep breathing in and out. With each exhale, imagine the tension in your glute area disappear. And the pain, the intensity of the pain that you're feeling is becoming less and less. Again, stabilize the tennis ball where it is and close and open your knees repeatedly. Just going to do a couple more here. Doing a great job. This is not easy work and it can be quite intense. So if you need to take a break, go for it. So we're going to move the tennis ball again. So see how it's even lower. So now it's going to be right beside your sit bone on the outside of your sit bone. Not on the inside towards where we release the number 2. It's going to be more outside of the sit bone. So you can really start to see it now down towards the sit bone area on the outside because you can actually see the tennis ball now. So I have adjusted here and I didn't have to use my hand this time right underneath my thigh as a barrier. But if you need to, use your fist and put that right underneath your leg to give it a little bit more of a stability so the stretch or the release of the muscle isn't so intense. Again, stabilize it. And we're going to close and open the knees. Good. Close and open. And now this time, leave them closed, but leave it so both knees are angled towards where the ball is sitting. So it's not away, it's towards. And just breathe in and out. Now, the pain should not be over a 7 out of 10. If you've watched many of my videos before, you know that is the max that you want to feel. And it should gradually diminish and get to a 1 out of 10. In other words, you only feel the pressure now, not the pain, the intensity of the muscle releasing. Good, and remove the tennis ball here. So now cross that same leg that we are working on and put the opposite ankle on the knee, and you're going to twist now the opposite way you were twisting. So you should feel a stretch right there on the side and the front of your hip. And see how I'm really pushing my knee away from me. That is what you want to do. You want to keep pushing the knee away. And with every inhale and exhale, at the exhale, the tension is releasing. Now I want you to hug the knee towards you this time. So see where my hand is placing on my glute there? That is where you should feel the stretch. So you can either keep both hands pulling towards you, or you can have one arm out to the side if that helps you relax more. So this is where I pulled the knee even closer towards my body. I moved the whole bottom leg as well up, and that will get even a deeper stretch into the hip. Now, if the other one was even too much for you, just hold the other stretch. And if this one is too much, or if it's not enough, then hold it and try to intensify the stretch by holding your breath. Now this one, classic figure 4, you're going to pull towards yourself. And try to push your knee away, again, to deepen the stretch inside the hip joint. So we're going to slowly recover here. And you're going to sit up. And again, if you're working on that left side, cross the left leg over your right, and you're going to be reaching forward. Whatever side you are working on with the tennis ball, that is the leg you cross over the other leg. Now remember, I was a dancer and a gymnast, and I've continued on with yoga, so my flexibility level is quite high. If this is too intense for you, just walk forward as much as you can comfortably. Remember, our goal here is to hold the stretches as long as we can until we feel a slight release. Because if we just hold the stretch for only 10 or 15 seconds, that's not going to do anything for the muscle to the extent that we want it to. A muscle, upon stretch, tightens right away because it thinks it has to protect the joint. So therefore, in order for the muscle to relax, you need to hold it a lot longer. Now cross the same leg you were just stretching that was on top, cross it on top of the other one, and twist to the opposite side. So, if you have your left leg on top of your right leg, you're going to twist towards that left side. Try to keep your back up nice and straight. Reach your back arm as much as you can. And don't forget to breathe. Breath is very important. So now unravel, and we're going to do the other side. It's good to balance out both sides. So again, feel that bump on the side and that point in the front of your hip. Now it's going to go right in between both sides. So see the image here. So lie on that side, then place it right in the middle between those 2 points. I don't know if you saw my mouth there. It was quite intense pain. It's common for one side to be more tender than the other. Whatever side we tend to be weaker on actually usually ends up being the side that's tighter. So do your best and try to tell yourself with every exhale, I'm going to release the muscle that the tennis ball is pressing on even more. Because actually, if you release the muscle and relax it as best you can, the pain actually goes down. So keep breathing and exhaling. And keep telling yourself to relax the area. It's very easy to tense up if you're not paying attention to it. Remember, the pain should not be over a 7 out of 10. So if it is too intense, just get a towel folded up and put that over top of the tennis ball to help decrease the surface area of the tennis ball, and therefore will help the tension and the pain caused by that tennis ball be a little bit less. Again, hand right on your hip and rotate up towards the ceiling. This will get a slightly different area. Don't forget to breathe in and out. Keep your knees relaxed. And bring that top leg up, straighten that bottom leg, and slowly rotate onto your back. So we're going to repeat the exact same thing on the other side. So we're going to place the tennis ball right there on top, right beside your tailbone. And we're going to twist the knees towards the side we're working on here. And just let it sit. And focus on alleviating and getting rid of any tension that you're holding in your glute and hip area. Now, if this is so intense that it's even more work for you to hold your legs like this, you can also do this close to the wall so that your legs can rest right against the wall. Now, when we let our knee fall right out to the side like this, right away I put my hand to act as a barrier right underneath my leg. So if you need to, do the same. Or like I mentioned earlier, you can even go close to a wall so the wall can act as a even sooner barrier. And when you're ready, if you're ready, remove your arm and relax it out to the side. With every exhale, let your knee fall closer and closer towards the floor. So when we hold the ball here to stabilize it, we're going to slowly open and close our knees. A few more. Open and close and open. Now we're going to shift up. So now we're going to go down to right in the middle beside our tailbone. So this is where that piriformis will pop out, because the piriformis muscle actually attaches to the front side of the tailbone, and it pops out about that hole that you saw I was pointing at, and then it will go and attach to the outside of the hip that I was speaking about earlier. So this is a great exercise to help alleviate that tension. Again, I'm using my fist here to help act as a barrier for my leg to not fall too far out the side and create too much pain right now. And when it began to subside a little bit, that's when I was able to take my arm away and leave it out to the side to let my knee sink further and further into the floor. Now see how I scooched my back leg over there, my back foot, and basically kissed both of my feet together. It was just to act so that my leg that was close to the floor wouldn't be sliding too much. So you can use that trick as well if you need to. And we're going to stabilize the ball here, bring our legs together and open, together, open, together, open, together, and open, together, and open. Now you're going to gently begin to start sliding now down on the outside of the sit bone area. And let that sit. If you need to put your hand as a barrier right underneath your leg, do so. But if you're fine like I am here, rest your arm out to the side. And focus on the tension right where the tennis ball is, slowly leaving your body with every exhale. Keep inhaling and exhaling, and hold the ball in position and close your knees and open, and close and open, close, open, close and open, close, open, and close here. So hold that. So both knees are twisted towards the same side here. Really let that pain diminish. This is one of the more intense trigger points for me anyways. It's a little bit more of a sensitive area right beside that sit bone there on the outside. Just be patient with yourself. This will really help if you have a lot of tension around your hips. But that also means if you have a lot of tension, the pain typically for these trigger points are a lot more. Let your leg rest out to the side and remove the tennis ball. Now cross that leg we were just working on, the glute area, and put your ankle right over top of that knee and twist now towards the opposite side away from where you were just working on to stretch out that glute. And really push your knee away from you. You don't want it close to yourself at this chest. You want the stretch to be right underneath that pointy part of your hip right in the front. Keep inhaling and exhaling. And now hug the knee towards your body. So again, once I'm showing you where you should feel that stretch right in the glute. So you can use both hands to pull towards your chest or have the other resting the other side. So this is where I went to step 3 and I really pulled my knee towards my chest by swinging it out to the side more. If you're able to follow me, great. If that's too intense for you, please just stay at the other stretch and focus on your breathing. We'll recover back to that figure 4. Lift the bottom leg off. Gently kind of twist side to side here. And pushed the knee away from me. So why we hold our stretches so long, again, just to remind you, is because we really want the muscles to release. If we only hold the muscles for a short period of time, it thinks they're just protecting the joints and get even tighter. So now let's go even deeper into the same stretch. Cross that leg right over top of the glute we were just working on. And reach forward and sink right into the stretch. So all these different stretches we're doing in all these different angles and all these different positions is because even though it's stretching a similar area and it's a similar stretch, it's getting different fibers within the muscles around the hips. We have to work on all the fibers, not just one area. Right? These muscles almost are like fan-shaped. So if we were to only just hold one stretch, we'd only be working one part of the fan. But we want to work the whole fibers. Now slowly recover. You can walk yourself up if you need to and gently release. Cross that leg over, rotate towards, really sit up nice and straight. And inhale and exhale. Keep inhaling and exhaling. That stretch should feel good, and it should feel less intense than it did at the beginning. This is called progress. We are not after perfection here. We are after progress. Now untwist yourself, and we're going to try to keep our back up nice and straight, arms behind us. And we're going to rotate our knees side to side. Now this is working the actual hip joint itself. Now that everything is released around it a lot better and we have a little bit leeway, we're going to work the new range of motion that we have in the hips. So this, I'm allowing my sit bones to pop off the floor. Do the same as we're twisting side to side. Again, keep your back protected, keep it nice and straight, chest up, don't slouch. Now this time, one leg will drop in, straighten it, bend it, and let it fall out. Straighten it, bend back in, and other side. Bend in, straighten, bend in again, then rotate out, straighten it, rotate out, and other side. Don't let your sit bones pop off the floor here. In, out, straight, out, up, in, straight, in, out, straight, out, other side. Okay. Now lie on your back, hug your knees towards your chest and gently roll side to side here. Again, getting different ranges of motion of the hip joints with that new range of motion. If this is painful, don't do this. Just bring your knees up with your heels on the floor and rest. So now straighten everything out. We're going to rotate onto our stomachs because we're going to go into cobra. Now, this is full cobra. Full cobra is too intense for you. Go onto your elbows like this. But if you can, go onto your hands. We're going to now stretch the hip flexors and stretch the front of the hips. Keep your shoulders down. Don't let your shoulders crawl towards your ears. And relax down. Again, you can just go onto your elbows like this. Straighten your elbows in this position, or last, you can go all the way up like this. Just do as best you can. If this is hurting your back, do not do this, because we are going to stretch the front of the hip in another way shortly. So just stay on your stomach and just breathe. Now you're going to squeeze your glutes together and lift one at a time. So squeeze them, pinch a penny between your glutes and lift and lift and relax. Squeeze, lift and release. When we work, so just copy me here as I talk, when we work on the opposite muscle that we're trying to stretch out, that helps it to relax. The hip flexor, because we sit a lot all day, often becomes too tight and the glutes become weak. And that's why we're trying to squeeze the glutes as much as we can and straighten it back. So our glutes are squeezing so much, that is what's pulling our leg up. Okay? Because now that we released other areas, we want to strengthen the glutes up properly. So squeeze them together, lift and relax. Squeeze again. Remember, it's not your hamstrings lifting your leg. You're squeezing your glutes so much before you lift. That squeezing of your glutes is what's lifting your leg. Now, if you can only get your leg off an inch off the floor, that's fine with me. Go into child's pose and stretch right back. Let your knees fall out to the side if you can. Now step one leg forward right beside your hands and let your hips press towards the floor. Try to keep your back nice and straight. Now again, I was quite flexible, so you won't maybe not be able to press your hips this close towards the floor. Just do what you can in the range of motion that suits you best. Keep breathing and recover. So you're going to push yourself away and then down onto all fours. Switch legs, heel on the outside of your hands, and reach forward. So again, really relaxing into that stretch. Inhale, exhale. With every exhale, your hips are moving even closer towards the floor. Good. Just a few more moments here. Now press back, press away, then recover. So now we're going to work on the feet here. So I'm going to get you to stand up. And you're going to work on your toes. This is going to help establish the strength under your feet. So lift your big toes like this. And down on the floor. And lift the rest of your toes while keeping your big toe right on the floor. So again, this is going to help you reestablish that nerve connection from your brain to your feet, because if your hips are bothering you, that means there's some sort of issue as well going on the feet. And if not, it's very unlikely that that's not happening. So that's why we're doing it, but it's better to do this and just, make your brain work. It's always good to make your brain think. Good, and we're going a little bit faster here, so toes up. Good. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. It's not easy, so you can practice this anytime when you're in the lineup, for example, at Tim Hortons or Starbucks or whatever. Now in the same standing position, we're going to strengthen now the glute med. So you're going to stand on one leg, so don't let your hips drop like this, and don't let your hips hike up on the one side. The pointy parts on your hips, you want them to be right straight aligned in one another. So we're going to do them here now. We're going to do about a minute each side. What I tell my clients is when they're brushing their teeth in the morning and when they're brushing their teeth at night, they should stand on one leg for a minute each and brush their teeth. This, again, helps to strengthen that glute med muscle, that gluteus medius. This muscle is responsible for stabilizing the pelvis and keeping it straight when walking. So if this muscle is weak for you and you're really feeling a burning right now, that is what could be predisposing you to back pain, what could be predisposing you to knee pain, ankle pain, foot pain, your bursitis of your hip, your IT band syndrome, just to name a few. So this muscle, glute medius, is very, very important. If this muscle is not doing its job, a little muscle called piriformis oftentimes will be called in to take up the slack of this muscle. Now that piriformis muscle, if it pulls too tight, can cause things like sciatica, which you start to feel that pain down the back of the leg. Now again, we're going to switch to the other side here. Make sure your hips don't drop and they don't hike up. Keep them in perfect alignment. You may want to do this in front of the mirror so you can really get a good sense of if you're keeping your hips straight or not. Hence the reason why I tell my clients to do this as they brush their teeth at night. So this would be very good to do every night, especially if you've clicked on this video, you already have hip pain. So you might as well do this just to add some strength in and stabilization. Very good. We're almost done here. Keep holding, holding, holding. Keep everything straight. Make sure you're not hiking or make sure you're not letting that hip drop. And recover. So I want to thank you for watching this video and taking the time to do it. And if you like this video, please subscribe and share this if you know of someone else in your life who would benefit.